Alright, so this first localizer is a bilateral. Because of that, you can see that we don't have a good sagittal. If you look here, no good sagittal. We are doing the left tib fib. So for the second localizer, I am going to drop it right on the left leg for a unilateral localizer. Okay, you can angle with the tibia if you like. You don't have to. There we go, getting a slice right through it, preferably. I'm also going to turn on no phase wrap, just because actually we probably don't need it, but with larger patients you might need it so that the outer leg doesn't wrap in. This looks good. I want to move it posterior on this plane, the axial plane. We're going to run that as well. You don't need to turn on nose phase wrap because obviously her right leg is still within the FOV. However, if the right leg is too big and it extends outside of the FOV in the phase encoding direction, it might be wise to turn on no phase wrap. Okay, the asset calibration is just where you get signal. So I'm going to drop my slices right here. I have signal above the top of the tibia, and I have signal below the lateral and medial malleoli of the fibula and tibia. Okay, so in this plane over here, I have my bilateral localizer, and same with this plane down here, but over here, I'm going to select series and bring up that new unilateral localizer on this side, and you can see that we have a good sagittal now. So we're planning a coronal. It is a bilateral. I'm going to drop it right here. You can see that my FOV extends well past the tibia superiorly and well past the malleoli inferiorly. You can see the lateral and medial malleoli right there. So I'm going to decrease the FOV maybe 2 clicks, maybe a third, and I like that. Okay, you can rotate your FOV if you'd like. You don't have to. I'm going to just give it a hair. Over here in the axial plane, you want to angle with the bilateral tibia, so you can see those right here. So if you need to see, you can go like that. I like that angle. Now we'll add those back. Now in the sagittal plane, you want to angle with the tibia as well. So you can see that I'm covering, or I'm not covering the proximal tibia, so I'm going to add to cover that, and distal tibia would be down here. So I have coverage of those superiorly and inferiorly. Also going to angle a little better. There we go. And now you want to scroll through your images to make sure you cover all of the muscle posteriorly. So I have coverage right there. This looks good to me. You can cover the fat as well, but you don't need to. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm going to optimize my TR very quick. There we go. 2 times 10 is 20. I'm still in T1 range. This looks good. I'm going to run it. Okay. Now this is just another coronal bilateral. I can just simply copy that first coronal bilateral. This looks good. 1 times 19 for a perfect 19. We are in PD range, which is typically like 16 or 1800 and up. I'm gonna leave that. Now I'm gonna move into the sagittal. So right off the bat, you can tell that I have my unilateral localizer up because this leg is centered right here in the coronal plane, the left leg, and I have a good sagittal. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring up my bilateral localizer in the coronal plane and in the axial plane as well. You don't have to do this because it is unilateral. I think it's just a little easier for me to see, so I like having that. Okay, but I'm going to leave up series 2, this over here, the unilateral localizer in the sagittal plane. I'm going to drop my FOV and I'm going to angle it with the tibia just a little bit. Again, you don't have to do this, but I like to. Over here, I'm going to angle with the tibia, and even to see better, I'm going to bring up that coronal that's currently running. It is currently active, and this is what I'm going to use to angle and cover. Oops, did not mean to do that. Okay, again, you can see that I have way more than enough coverage, so I'm going to decrease my FOV 3 clicks. Let's try that. I can see the medial malleoli right here, that little stub on the medial aspect of the distal leg. And there's that lateral malleoli, which courses down even further from the fibula on the lateral aspect of the leg. Okay, I could realistically decrease my FOV even more. I like that. There we go. Actually, I'm going to scoot up a little bit. There we go. I have coverage inferiorly and superiorly over here. I have angled it with the tibia, and now I just need to check my coverage. You don't really have to worry about the axial plane much. So you can see I'm missing a little sliver right there, so I'm going to find that sliver in the coronal plane. There we go. Okay, so I have all of the musculature laterally here, and now I'm going to scroll and check my coverage medially. Like I said, you only really need the musculature and bony anatomy. So I'm checking here that that gray muscle doesn't extend further than my slices. This looks good. I'm happy with this. All that's left to do is optimize my TR. I'm scanning a T1, range is 350 to 750. TR is 3 acquisitions of 7 slices for a perfect 21. This is great. I'm going to save that. Now this is again another sagittal. I'm going to copy this right here. 2 times 11 is 22. That's close enough. I am in T2 range just for the purpose of this exam. These are labs, not a real exam. Not sure why this is happening, but like I said, just because it's a lab, I'm going to cut that for now. Okay, so again, I want to find my money slices first and foremost. There we go. You can see clearly medial malleoli, lateral malleoli, tibial plateau up here. Obviously the tibia in this plane, you can see the fibula as well, coursing down. The fibula is what ends at that lateral malleoli. The tibia contains the medial malleoli over here. Okay, so that being said, I'm planning an axial. I'm going to drop it right here on the left leg. I'm going to decrease the FOV quite a bit because I don't need all of that. I'm going to angle with the tibia in this plane right here. We give it an angle like that. I see that I just got some new sagittals. I'm going to bring that up over here because I'd much rather angle from that than a localizer. There we go, that looks great. Now all I have to do is coverage. I like to do my coverage in the sagittal plane. So I'm going to cover above the tibial plateau right there, plus 1 or 2 slices just to ensure coverage. And in the coronal plane, I'm going to do my inferior coverage of the medial and lateral malleoli. There we go. Okay, like I said, I like to cover 1 or 2 extra. This looks great to me. Only thing is this is a T1 and we are way out of range. So I'm going to go for perhaps 64, 12 times, I'm sorry, 8 times 8. That might still be out of range. No, looks good. We have a couple extra slices. Just for the sake of lab and letting everyone scan, I'm going to decrease the necks. And finally, you want to ensure that you check your images. Make sure that you have covered everything you need, and also that there isn't any prevalent artifact or anything like that. Calibration scan. and localizers.